welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast in which we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate The Last Jedi, one fishy minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
And I'm Chris Radtke from StarWarsCity.funcom.
Funcom. Well, Chris, thank you for coming back on the program.
It's always great to see you guys again.
Another day, another dollar.
Minute
23.
Are you
starting
giving Chris
off
a dollar?
with what?
Are you giving Chris $1?
Mind your own
Come
business.
cheap.
Okay.
We're talking about minute 23 today. Minute number 23 starts off with Luke getting ready to spear a fish, and it ends a minute later with Rey being called by a magic tree. Well, I assume it's a magic tree. We don't know. We just see her kind of being
she's just being
summoned
called
by something.
by
Her
magic.
phone keeps ringing and the caller ID says magic tree. She's like, magic tree? Well, I don't even know what that is. And a magic tree has some vital information about her car warranty.
Her warranty.
Her
Warranty.
Her star warranty. So Luke getting ready to do some fishing. First fishing we've seen in Star Wars. We've seen people being eaten by fish. I don't think we've ever seen anyone hunting the fish for eating purposes before.
Yeah, we've seen fish eat fish.
Uh-huh.
Well, this opens up a different question that I had, which is,
Let's hear it.
if the Jedi are in tune with the Force and it's the energy field that is created by all living things and all that, wouldn't they be vegetarians all? And much like the Hare Krishnas and stuff like that, where that's like kind of central to their ethos. Like, well, I can't eat lizards because the Force is in this lizard. You know what I mean?
Well, have you ever seen any Jedi eat meat?
I don't think so, and that's why. So Luke has lost the Force, and that's why he's eating fish. And he was like, "Oh, you know what? I lost the Force. First thing I'm going to do is get some bacon cheeseburger,
a nice piece of fish. That's what I'm looking for."
Well, but even plants have the Force in them, so
that rock. Don't eat that rock.
You can't eat the rock. You can eat the rocks all you want.
I think that might just be a little like, the Force is in everything, but also it's the Force's will to keep, it's the circle of life, and
for all we know, the fish is communicating to him, saying, "I'm ready to be eaten now."
Yes, I know. A noble death will be eaten.
I will have served my purpose.
Christ,
that fish swam by and was like, "Hey, Skywalker, eat me."
Hey, don't mind if I do. He's like, let me go get my extra long pole.
So did Luke, this spear thing fascinates me.
Yeah.
Love it.
Did Luke invent this thing, or was it there when he got there? Let's start with that.
It's as absurd as the amazing gum stick, which is in It, Stephen King's It. One of the chapters starts with like some dumb kid in the neighborhood. He's like, "I invented the amazing gum," and it's a stick with a piece of gum on it, and he uses it to like put it in hard to reach places and get things like that Sesame Street girl with the magnet who's like, "Yeah, come and go get my jacks," and he's like, he sticks the gum stick, but when he sees hair floating in the sewer, and he's like, "Oh, that will make a great wig for my mom," and he takes the gum stick and he goes and pulls it, and it's a kid's head, and that's like the scary moment. So this is a case of like Luke's like, well, there's this pond here of plentiful fish, but to get those big fishes, I got to put together this long, amazing gum stick of a fishing pole.
So it started off just like a small handheld thing, and then he just kept getting bigger and bigger.
And it's because he
killed all the small fish, so he had to keep going after bigger and bigger fish because he wiped out the whole.
Because there always are bigger fish.
Yep,
that's the beauty of it.
And that is it. And he was like, if Star Wars taught me anything, if the Jedi way teaches you anything, there's always bigger fish to be eaten.
In my belly.
How does he get the fish is down there like 50 feet below? He spears it. Does he then just like have to hand over hand pull that whole thing up?
He spears it.
It would get so heavy that
no. But then what he does is he's got to move the stick up to the side, and like he uses the stick so he doesn't lose it, and he's like, oh, and he uses the side to pull the fish all the way up, and it falls in. He's like, oh, and he's gonna stab it. But it's like when you're eating with chopsticks for the first time, and you're like,
yeah, this whole thing took like 3 hours. It cuts. We didn't.
well,
so
it
we
cuts
because
it's pouring rain. It's like it's
Yeah.
literally like 6 hours later. Like, oh, it started to rain.
They cut out the scene where he walked down to the town and bought a fish and came back.
Right.
Space nuns. The space nuns have better fish anyway. So he goes and buys himself a magic carp.
Can Luke Skywalker swim?
Yes,
Ooh.
of course he can.
He grew up on a desert planet.
Yeah, but he's also saved the king.
He can
Or tried to save
swim.
the king of Monkal. So
Yeah. Do
There's-
you think like the Rebel Alliance, like you had to pass like a physical fitness test, and you had to know basic swimming in order to be?
dude, if you got to be able to swim to be healed in a Bacta tank. So it's
Back
like,
to school.
You have to go back to school to learn how to swim.
swim.
I'll tell you.
Yeah. It's doing the Womp Rat paddle. The Rey definitely would not, because she at some point says, "I've never seen this much water in my life," which that might only be in the novel.
Yeah.
Novelization.
She definitely says green. I've never seen this much green in my life when they land
Right.
on.
Well, and then I think that's a callback to this. Because she's like, amazed at that, and then here she's like, when she's trying to get Luke Skywalker to warm up, she's like, I've never seen this much water before. He's like, yeah, great, and just another.
He's like, yeah, I grew up on a desert.
Yeah.
They all just started talking about how much they don't like sand.
But then she also says, because when he does it, he pole vaults over to the little precipice. Pole vaults to the precipice. She's like, how did you do that? Like, did you use the Force? And he's like, no.
No, I'm just really good at this long fishing.
Right.
What have been practicing?
Long fishing. He's been watching it on ESPN4. And it's
long fishing.
like in the middle of the night.
Semifinals.
It's funny to imagine if he had like slipped off. Would she have been like, "Did he do that on purpose?" What?
Yeah. Master
That's-
Skywalker.
That's how
Master
they should have killed
Skywalker. You can come back. Like, I get it now. He's just drowning.
She
He's just
stays
like
there for like.
floating. like,
Luke
sprawled
Skywalker's
out.
end is it leads up to this. It shocks you that he's this broken man, and then he falls off a cliff, and that's it. And
He's in the
that would
middle
have
of like some stories, like Han and I are once.
and that would have
disappears.
Ryan Johnson really hated Star Wars. That's what he would have done. He'd be like, "This will show those fat nerds." Oh, he fell off a cliff.
And then the rest of the story is Rey has to make up some crazy story about why Luke didn't come back with him.
Right.
He imbued me with the Force, and then he disappeared, and then I have
He
him
told me
inside
that
me.
I'm the new leader of the Resistance, and that you guys all suck, and I'm the best.
Well, I'm now Ray Skywalker. That's who I am.
That's
He's
the
in
ticket.
me.
Legally, I am entitled. I am his heir.
Yeah, I have my Jedi texts, and I have his
He said I
long
get to keep his land
fishing
speeder
pole.
and his hat with the goggles on it, and that little robot with the binoculars on the top, and everything.
It's like
I'm
Mercedes
Ray
still in the garage.
Skywalker. Look at me. Oh, look, the keys to Skywalker Castle are mine. That's totally it. That's what happened here.
All right.
That Mary Sue.
Oh, don't start.
I'm kidding. She's not.
Well,
She's
he
very
doesn't.
flawed.
As amazing and powerful as Rey is, Luke doesn't know that at this point, and it's hard to. I always find it hard to realize when characters know things about other characters when we know.
Have
If
you
that makes
ever
sense.
met a human being that was really
Have you ever
powerful?
met a human being?
A human being, but you met them in the context of outside of their power display.
Like if you
So
met someone
didn't know
famous.
they were, like you didn't know that they were powerful.
Yes, I worked with a professional wrestler once.
And were you like,
That was
no? But did you know he was a professional wrestler?
yes.
No,
But-
that's not what I'm talking about. Like, did you ever know somebody, like meet somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and not know that they were powerful?
Imagine like
in
you went to a
whatever-
wedding and you were sitting at a table and you were just making small talk with someone, and then you found out that they were the princess of Thailand or something.
Right,
like
but did
that.
they exude a special something? Did they exude
Right.
so if you're in
Je
the
ne sais
like
quoi.
right, like if you're in the presence of a powerful person, or do you know
Hmm.
that because they're glowing power, or they're like, I would say probably not. I met a powerful guy once. I had no idea he was powerful until he told me, and I was like, you're just another MF.
Well, theoretically, Anakin Skywalker was a mad powerful Jedi, and it doesn't seem like people were especially, the Jedi Council didn't seem especially impressed by him. Speaking of which, P.S., forgot to bring it up yesterday, Annie calls lightsaber a laser sword in Phantom Menace. So.
I saw your laser sword.
Yeah.
That's more of a taunt, though.
It is.
I saw your laser sword.
And that was him being insulting.
Right.
So I have some notes here about Mark Hamill. What he had been up to lately. And first of all,
Comic Book the movie.
Chris, you are a famous. Well, first of all, is there anything specific to minute 23 that we should talk about before I go on to this sidebar?
Well, yeah. Minute 23.
He's fishing, and they walk back to the hut, and then Ray's all like, "What the? I feel something calling me."
Yeah, minute 23. I think it's just that I think I did find in my notes. I just said it's very cute how Ray kind of bops along, after Luke Skywalker. She's trying to like get attention. I really love Daisy Ridley's performance as Rey. I think it's I just find that she's got a lot of. There's an innocence to her as she plays this character, and I think
charisma.
She's got charisma. She's got charisma, David. But she's more
found charisma.
She's very. It's just how she bops along, and she's like, "Hey, I wish you would pay attention to me." And there's something. I think the word is adorkable about it. I'm really, and I do. I'm very critical of the other two movies. I don't like them very much. I love this movie so much, and her performance is part of the reasons why I love this so much. I think she's really wonderful.
I think cast-wise, I think the sequels have the best casting of all. Well, obviously, the original one that's like sets the template, but like I think there's just all the main actors are very charismatic people compared to some of the more stilted performances we saw in the prequels.
Right.
So
Imagine if Poe Dameron was not charismatic. Imagine if Oscar Isaac didn't have it. And that disjointed character that was shoehorned
that's a whole
in.
different problem.
Yeah.
He was too charismatic, and that led to logjam as far as characterization.
We'll talk about that jerk in the time.
Well, so in that case, then, Chris, let me ask you, Mark Hamill, you are a big MCU guy.
I sure am.
Whether Mark Hamill in the MCU, where should he appear?
Oh, now what age Mark Hamill in 2021?
Mark Hamill now, now. Mark Hamill, the actor now, is like, I'm ready to go to the MCU. I'll play anyone from Stiltman to the Stingray.
What is his name?
Went from Stick to Zurus.
Pick within that field. I would say the first thing that actually came to my mind was it Reed Richards' dad?
Nathaniel Richards.
But like old,
good.
The time jumping, space warlord. Right. That's not because he would be playing a character that I was saying that Mark Hamill couldn't play, which is the Luke Skywalker with gravitas, but it would be more of, that like. It would be ridiculous. I think I do. I heard there's a rumor that he was going to voice a character coming up. That potentially that he would be the voice of the High Evolutionary.
Oh wow!
Which that would be great if it's a voice. Make Mark Hamill the voice of something.
Right.
That works great. So we don't have to see him.
Herbie, the Fantastic Four's robot.
Is totally like, and what Mark Hamill would you get for that Herbie voice? Would you get the Joker, like the merry prankster? Or would you get the
I want to see him. I want to see him on screen.
The Fire Lord.
He can be a voice, but he should. I also want to see him on screen. So.
Yeah. So what would I say? Nathaniel Richards was the first thing that came to mind, but I think that would just be ridiculous.
Well, so in my notes here, I looked up his IMDb, and I was intrigued to learn that he's the new voice of Skeletor in the new
yes.
He-Man thing, so which I guess makes sense.
That's a Kevin Smith project. So
okay.
That's why we got that there.
Yeah. But he was also in the Dark Crystal. I've forgotten about that. Did you ever watch Dark Crystal, Chris?
He was in the new Dark Crystal, not the original. Dark Crystal.
Not the original.
I have not seen the new Dark Crystal. Okay. It was one of those things that, like, for years I was so excited about it, and then it kind of came out, and I was like, "Man, I got better things to do."
But apparently, he did at three times has done the voices for. He's done the voices for 3 different Marvel characters in different permutations.
So he's done the Gremlin, right?
Right.
Oh, did he do the Gremlin too? Okay, even 3 totally different ones.
I'm trying to think. So he's Hobgoblin from. Let's see if I know this. So Hobgoblin from the '90s Spider-Man show. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't have it in front of you.
I thought that there was. I just skimmed the list and then I found 3, and I didn't. It didn't occur to me to go and look through the whole list of all of his things. So I didn't know he had more than that. So go ahead.
I may be completely wrong. But what have you found? I keep cutting.
The 3 I found were he did the voice of Wolverine in the Ach-To Wolverine's Revenge video game. So he was the voice of Claw in the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Really? Okay, can we talk about that episode for a minute?
Yes.
All right. First of all, up until the MCU, and some of the Avengers things, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes is the definitive Avengers outside of the comic, cartoon, or any kind of any non-comic book version of the Avengers.
What about Avengers Assemble?
Nope. Avengers Assemble is a pale shadow compared to Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yeah.
Came out in the beginning of the MCU. So the MCU was in its kind of nascent stages. The first couple movies were out. So this thing hit. And it's Christopher Yost, and I forgot the other guy's name, but the guys who went on to write Thor Ragnarok, and they write a lot of the Marvel movie stuff. This is the place where they experiment with a lot of the ideas that became the MCU. Mm-hmm. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. If you are a Marvel nerd and you have not watched Earth's Mightiest Heroes, it's great for kids. That's how my kids got into Marvel. And for any fan that knows a little bit about Marvel, like, this thing rewards you with a lot of holy. Oh, sorry, I know you're not supposed to curse. It is astoundingly good. And it's on Disney Plus. And there's one episode. It's the Ant-Man episode where Ant-Man is he's in the jungles testing and working with vibranium and trying to figure out and these shrinking things, and a pre-living sound Ulysses Claw shows up, voiced by Mark Hamill, and he's kind of plays like that colonial, colonist explorer. He's got pith helmet on and like high riding boots, and he's got a team of mercenaries with him that are his muscle, and they battle Hank Pym, and Hank Pym shrinks everybody and does a bunch of clever things, and that's the episode. It's the showcase of Hank Pym. And it's so amazing. And the mercenaries that he hires are all modeled after the Predator gang. So it's Arnold, it's Grief Karga, it's got Jesse Ventura, it's got the Native American guy. It is so awesome. I highly, highly recommend that show. That episode in particular is so good, especially when you get recognized.
Is Claw one of the Predator guys? Like, is he?
No, Claw is the guy that's hired the mercenary Predator
so
guys.
It's not like he's got it.
No, and then Claw himself later on becomes the Claw, the made of living sound, sliced like deli meat in Secret Wars.
Andy Serkis took over.
Yes, and then Andy Serkis pulls over. Who, if you really want to say, like, Andy Serkis is what Mark Hamill's always kind of what he wanted to be. Like, Andy Serkis is Mark Hamill if Mark Hamill was born 10 years later.
Interesting.
Andy Serkis, like, Mark Hamill's like, oh, I could have totally done that. Because he would have been Gollum. He would have done all the monkey stuff.
Right. So the only other note I had about did the voice of Chucky, obviously Mark Hamill, and also he did the voice of Swamp Thing in the Justice League Action TV series, which I am unaware of. But
no, he's done a lot of those characters. But
he's done tons of voices.
According to the Marvel animated wiki, he was Maximus, Sentry, Triton, Hobgoblin from Spider Carnage universe, Gargoyle, Tong Zing, Oiler, Red Skull, Chthon, Claw, Armin Zola, Ox, Nightmare, and Armin Zola.
Amazing. Yeah, I remember the reason why Gremlin and Hobgoblin stand out is when that happened in the 90s. It was when you wouldn't get a lot of Mark Hamill, right? It was that Iron Man cartoon, I believe, and that Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah.
Being, stone jerk in college watching Saturday morning cartoons. That was a big deal. And any time Mark Hamill showed up in something post Star Wars, I was the first in line to rented the Guyver immediately. I mean, I was hyped for Comic Book the movie, all of the voice, and
Wing Commander.
Oh God, Wing Commander! Holy cow! So when you look back, I mean, I was, I've been accused of being unkind to the beloved actors of the Star Wars trilogy by some of the Star Wars Minute Listener Society folks, and they're probably going to be a little upset with how I talk about Mark Hamill and his acting chops. But man, I love and adore that guy. I love Luke Skywalker. He's my man. He was the one that I always wanted to be. He's the one the character that was it for me. But Mark Hamill, the hot mess that's Mark Hamill, the new face Mark Hamill, all versions of Mark Hamill I do love, and the voiceover stuff has been a treat to see over the years. Sorry, that was a long rant.
No, it's true. I'm always happy to see him in things, and I agree. I've been one of his biggest supporters. Yeah, but it's good to. I just want to point out that I know that it's Arnim Zola, but I was reading the thing and the thing said Armin Zola. So
Armand Zola.
Yeah,
you're thinking of Armie Hammer.
Armand Zoloft.
All right,
yes.
I guess that'll wrap up minute number 23 then. Unless you guys have anything else to say?
All right. Stuff that'll carry till tomorrow.
Wait, right. So what's your favorite, without thinking too much, Alex, what's your favorite Mark Hamill role outside of Star Wars? Go.
Well, I was almost going to mention it, but when he was just on What We Do in the Shadows playing an old vampire, and he was really great in that. So.
It's cliche, but I might have to say the Joker, because Batman animated series was so good, and it took a while of watching it, and then somebody's like, that's Mark Hamill, and I was like, wait, what? That moment of realization about wait, this, how could that be? Because this is a whole separate thing, and I know it's low hanging fruit, but I'm gonna go with the Joker.
His Joker is the definitive Joker.
Joker, as love concerned. That Joker.
He's that Joker. Sorry, Caesar.
Yeah, and apologies to the trickster and as you said, the guy.
Have you watched the CW shows, the CW DC shows?
Mm-mm.
No, I didn't think you guys have.
I for a while I was putting one on. There's one crazy crossover one that I was putting on in the background.
So the trickster character from. He plays the trickster in the old 80s Flash show, and he's that's when you realize oh, Mark Hamill's, this is what we're gonna get out of him, right? So he plays that campy trickster.
This is live action.
The live action.
Yeah.
Then he comes back in the Flash TV show as the father of the new trickster, and it's not the same character. But then when they do the Crisis on Infinite Earths miniseries, when they pull in, they do a reference to every DC filmed thing that ever exists. They do a scene where kind of the 80s Flash and the 80s Trickster are battling each other once more. And they come in and check in on that universe. And that version of the Trickster, of how he evolved over the decades, is really good. and it's only like a one scene thing, but it's like Trickster as kind of like a kingpin of crime kind of thing, and it's yeah, it's pretty good. It's like Durant from Darkman type character. Anyway, sorry, I've prolonged
So we got
this thing.
Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yes,
And-
Radtke's picks: Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and maybe a minute and a half of the Crisis miniseries.
Now, in order to really get it, though, you have to watch the whole original Flash series to really understand
Right.
it. So watch
Plus
that
all
first.
of Black
should-
Lightning. Plus,
Yeah,
You should watch it 2 or 3 times,
Supergirl,
and
the whole
then
mix.
start.
And you know what else you should do? You should call our telephone line, 8-Day Greedo. Tell us what you think about Mark Hamill, how awesome he is, and so on. Maybe if it's good, if it's short, ideally, we'll use it on the show. If you got a funny anecdote or a funny fan theory,
If it's short,
Yeah.
well, ideally. I mean, if it's really fantastic, go to town on it. But
Well, but that's
Less
not going to make it on. I as much as we might like to hear it, don't
Yeah.
expect it to be on. If you get hung up on by the machine and you have to call back and keep going with your story, I'm happy that you have a venue to express yourself there, but it's not going to be on the show. I'm sorry.
you should call back every day and make sure you leave the message to ensure that they get it.
Right.
so yes, you hear any crazy fan theories lately? Right? Can you keep your thumb on the pulse of crazy Star Wars fan theories?
I have heard some crazy fan theories. What part of the galaxy do you want to know about?
What about the idea that they're going to create a Kelvin universe for Star Wars?
It's not happening. That is
as opposed to
that
Star
is-
Trek.
That is sad boy fantasy. There is not going to be in the next 10 years. Let me frame it. We're not going to have the multiverse, Star Wars multiverse.
Uh-huh.
And when that does happen is when it'll be maybe 20 years out. You'll have something like that can occur, and that can open the door for a Star Wars Marvel crossover. But until then, I do not think that is going. That is just wishful thinking of a bunch of sad, angry folks. Take that if you're listening. Be
Wow.
ashamed.
You're not afraid to tell it like it is.
I am not.
I agree that it seems unlikely just because like regular people don't care about that kind of like having
right.
to reboot universes and stuff. It's only for hardcore nerds that have to come up with some reason why that would be the case. So
if you're out there holding on to some fantasy that they're gonna, wipe the sequel trilogy from canon,
yeah,
you got like that's on that little the little diagram where the arrows. If you are like this, yes or no, you go here. That's like when that is something that's on your radar. That
you
is
might be
then
a
like
redneck.
no, yeah, it's like you could be a redneck. Or like that's the one that leads to when you go to that one. Go watch the William Shatner Saturday Night Live skit. That's like that is when you are too far down the rabbit hole, too far down the Scarlac pit. Scarlac, Dr. Spock's Scarlac pit.
That's where Armand Zola hangs out.
Armand Zola's Scarlac pit. And this episode, for Christ's sakes.
All right.
Christian
So
Christ's
yes,
sakes.
call 8-Day Greedo. Let us know if you think there will be a parallel universe, and join us. Yeah, we also want to remind people, if you're not watching, check out our YouTube video. You get to see our lovely mugs as we talk about Star Wars, and it get all sorts of visual humor and stuff that you don't get with the regular daily audio only podcast. So go to YouTube and watch us and watch the next Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.